one more way that the media fucks up everything they touch. They're evil. They're parasites. They're roundworms. Stay away from them. Don't talk to the media. Don't absorb the media. Don't believe anything they say, ever.
Alright, good morning YouTube. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the new big 3 exercise I think you should be doing in your program. But before I get into that topic, I am growing out this little excuse of a mustache for Movember to kind of bring a little bit of awareness to men's health and men's mental health. So men make up 49% of the population, but we make up 80% of the suicides. Every hour, I believe there's like 3.9 suicides occurring every day. And then when it comes to things like our life expectancy, we are expected to die much sooner than women, and largely for reasons that are entirely preventable just with our lifestyle. But one thing that's preventable on behalf of what we can do for one another, it's checking in on one another. It's being there for one another. It's having conversations, and it's being there for our friends, our brothers, and taking care of one another to make sure that we can see through a very long life with each other and with our families and doing all the things that we love for a very long time. But let's get into the actual video, and that is, if you think that there are going to be 3 exercises, any 3 exercises that are going to maximally develop your physique, you are mistaken. No 3 exercises will maximally develop your physique. Now, with that being said, I do think that it's worthwhile to point out which exercises are the most important. And I do think squat, bench, and deadlift do have their place in that hierarchy, but they're not the only things that should exist there. And if they are the only things that exist there, you are missing out. You are shooting yourself in the foot if you have any meaningful hypertrophy goals. So, what are these new big 3 exercises? What do they accomplish? What do they tell you about yourself? Quite simply, the 3 questions that I want these exercises to answer are you pound for pound strong? Are you fit? And are you being a fucking pussy? So the first big lift is pull-ups. I'm a huge advocate that if you cannot do a pull-up, you are either too weak or too fat. Are there exceptions? Of course, like there's going to be exceptions to literally everything. But if you are a reasonably healthy person, a person of regular average ability, meaning you have 2 arms, legs, and you're not born with any disabilities or hindrances, you should be able to do pull-ups, and you should be able to get to that point. You can develop yourself to get to that point of doing your first pull-up by doing all those other progressions that are out there, or just by simply growing the musculature, doing like lat pull-downs or barbell rows, dumbbell rows. There's a lot of things that you can do to get to your first pull-up. And once you can do one, that opens the floodgate to you being able to do a shit ton more. And if you start to lose the ability to do pull-ups, there's really only one thing that's going to cause that, and that's going to be you getting a bit too heavy. Reason why I know that is I relate. I know what that's like. The difference between the amount of pull-ups I can do at 250 versus 260 versus 270 is massive. A loss of 5 pounds usually ends up being a increase of pull-ups by at least 2, 3, and sometimes even more, sometimes up to 5 even. So really keeping track of your ability to do pull-ups really shows you, are you pound for pound strong? Are you actually able to move your body through space? A healthy individual, lucky enough to be born average, can develop the above average ability to do a shit ton of pull-ups. So make sure you actually train that skill. Now, some people are going to claim that pull-ups are suboptimal for back gains, but they can.
Shut the fuck up!
There's a great series of videos kind of going deeper into this made by other people, but I'm going to refer to the one made by Natural Hypertrophy because he just kind of fully blew that whole thing apart, and I think he did the best job on it, a much better job than I could do, so I highly recommend you watch that video. The second big lift is cardio. Now, you might be thinking to yourself like, hey, that's not a lift. Yes, it is. If pull-ups, moving your body through space, is a lift, So can cardio. Now, I'm not saying you have to do any specific kind of cardio. Moving your body through space has many forms. I don't care if you do running, rucking, carrying something like farmer's carries or yoke walks or something of that nature, sleds, jumping, sprinting, kettlebells, biking, ellipticals. I do not care, but I do think you should be able to withstand at a minimum 20 to 30 minutes of sustained effort, maybe even up to an hour. I think beyond that, we can start making arguments that that's not really relevant. And sure, 100%. But if you have a healthy heart, you can train harder. Fitter people can train harder. That's something I truly believe. The fitter you are, the more workouts you can do, the more workouts you can sustain, the better your recovery will be, and the better your recovery can be, the more gains you will get. So, the people who train the hardest tend to be people who are mad healthy. Look at guys like GVS. Look at guys like NH. Look at guys like Alpha Destiny. There's a reason why the fat powerlifter is just completely disproven now, because there's a lot of guys out there who are just incredibly strong, who are also incredibly fit. Even those who have slightly higher body fat percentages or even higher body fat percentages are doing things that are incredibly taxing or metabolically or cardiovascularly demanding, even though they're much bigger. Kyriakos Grizzly being the best example of that. That dude is fit for how big he is. So there's no excuse to think that you can't do your cardio. Alan Thrall has started making running content on his channel, and I think it's very useful that he does, simply because it shows something. A lot of us have this mistaken idea that doing cardio is going to kill our gains, going to kill our strength. No, bad training practices are going to kill your gains and kill your strength. The reason why he lost much strength when he was cutting was because his training changed and accommodated to that, in addition to lifestyle changes. It wasn't because he started implementing more cardio and whatnot. There's other factors that go into it. And if you look at the people he's following and the things that he's accomplishing now, the dude literally ran his 5-minute, 30-something second mile and then pulled over 500 pounds. That is impressive. That shows that you're not going to be losing that much. And before I get some people saying like, oh man, but he probably could have pulled more or something like that, it's like, hey man, focus on what you can do. Can you pull 500 pounds right now? No. And if you can, but you're doing it at a body weight where you feel incredibly uncomfortable or you feel incredibly unconfident, you can still get stronger even if you decide to get a bit lighter and a bit leaner. It probably will even help you because your deadlift leverages might even improve. So don't think cardio is going to kill your gains. 30 minutes on the elliptical will not kill your gains. Like, it's not going to stop you from hitting a 3-plate squat. People are running sub 6-minute miles and squatting over 600 pounds. So,
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?
The last big lift that I want you to really focus on is the exercise that you hate the most, but is most relevant to your goals. If you say to yourself, I want big arms, but I hate arm training, you are missing out. If you say to yourself, I want to have a big total, squat, bench, and deadlift, but I hate my squats, you're getting in your own way simply because you hate a movement, because maybe it didn't come to you as quickly enough. So as a result, you're not as motivated to put as much effort into it, or you start to feel that you're becoming more disenchanted or becoming a bit more depressed as a result of the lack of progress. And as a result, you just create another loop of you not putting as much effort into it as you could have. Or if you say something like, I love benching and hate doing dumbbells or machines, but I want a big set of pecs. Oftentimes, we get in our own way out of our preferences. One of the most important things that I think is necessary for each and every lifter is to find the lifts that they love and keep them in the program, like almost for the entire time they train. I will never stop barbell bench pressing. However, if I'm starting to notice that my chest gains or the way my chest looks is not exactly to my liking, or I feel like I want to make more progress in that area, I'm not just going to do more with the barbell bench. I'm going to start incorporating other exercises such as cable crossovers or dumbbell bench pressing. There's other things I need to address. If I want big arms, I'm not just going to do my pull-ups and chin-ups. I'm going to isolate, even if I personally find arm training to be significantly less fun than the compound movers or the compound lifts. So as a result, I need to do what I hate so I can get more of what I love, right? I would love to have bigger arms. I hate arm training. you have to make a choice. Which one do you want? Do you let your hate of arm training overpower your want for big arms? And if you do, then you have to accept having smaller arms. There's no other way around it. That's how life works. You pick your poison. And when that is the case in your training, you have to make a decision. Now, here's the beauty of this though. You don't have to do the barbell curl. You can do dumbbell curls. You don't have to do a easy bar curl with that Arnold plate thing that goes across your chest. You can do preacher curls. There's a lot of different flavors of things, so you can kind of start to find out what it is that you like, what it is that you don't like. The way I want you to think about this is kind of like your diet, right? I'm not really asking you to be a vegan. I'm not trying to ask you to overhaul all of your training and change up all your exercises just so you can fill your training with all the things that you hate but you know are good for you. No, I'm just asking you to
eat your vegetables, eat your vegetables, eat your fucking vegetables.
Have exercises that you know you aren't that passionate about but are entirely necessary to your goal. If you want to lose weight, you have to be willing to go into a calorie deficit. There's no way around it, but there's a shit ton of different ways that you can do that. There are things that your goal requires of you, and you have to be willing to do that if the goal means anything to you, okay? So, can you get big arms exclusively through compounds? Yes, but it is so inefficient, and the alternative is so effective that the answer might as well be no. So, in closing, do your pull-ups, do your cardio, and do what needs to be done for the things you claim to value. That's it for this video. What are some exercises that you think everyone should do? I usually like to be a bit more nuanced with my exercise selection and my exercise recommendations.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
But I was kind of inspired by Sam Sheether and the videos he's been putting out to kind of be a little bit more I guess, for a lack of better words, dogmatic, or just lack that nuance and like kind of put our flag in the sand or draw that line in the sand of where we think most people can spend a good amount of time with and do better. Now, those are my words, not his. So what are some exercises you think everyone should do and everyone would benefit from that you just don't see enough? I look forward to hearing what you have to say in the comments. I will be replying to your comments. And if you would like to support the channel, please consider liking, subbing, and sharing this video. Also, I also do have a Patreon, and on my Patreon right now, there is a fully customizable spreadsheet where you can change up the exercises. It gives you recommendations on how to program at different stages, and it gives you a bunch of different templates that you can use and create your own personal training program. So I highly recommend, if you are interested in that, to support me on Patreon. That spreadsheet will be available for free on December 9th. So if you just, don't have the money for it, no worries. I definitely will never put all of my content behind a paywall, and I will make sure that my information does get out for you for free, because you just sharing or you just taking the time to watch my content is support enough. So I'm incredibly grateful. But if you do have the means and you have the desire to support the channel, then that is one way to do it, and I highly appreciate that as well. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.